What do you do when overnight a global pandemic plunges the organization you lead into uncertainty? Welcome to The Pivot. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of The Pivot. I'm your host, Jen DeVore, Civic Impact Manager at the Economy League of Greater Philadelphia. I'm very excited to introduce today's guest, Judge Renee Cardwell Hughes, President and CEO of Philadelphia OIC. The organization has an incredible history. It was founded in 1964 at the height of the civil rights movement by the legendary Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan. The full organization's name is Philadelphia Opportunities Industrialization Center, or Philadelphia OIC for short. It's a nonprofit organization that provides education, training, and employment services to all Philadelphians, but especially those that are returning from the criminal justice system. The organization focuses on, and this is in their own words, and I just absolutely love it, helping people help themselves. And they do that through offering programming in hospitality and tourism, banking, infrastructure. They also provide academic support, general education, technology access, including computer literacy, something that is incredibly important, always has been, but even now more so as the digital divide has been amplified, and life training skills. Judge Hughes stepped in as the president and CEO just this past January on the brink of COVID-19, and she has since led the organization through not only a pandemic, but in recent weeks, the rise of civil unrest and demonstrations due to police brutality, systemic racism, things that have always been there, but have just recently really come to a head in the public eye in Philadelphia, as well as across the rest of the country. So we have so much to talk about today. Judge, please turn on your camera.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us today. We're so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to have the opportunity to share with the community the work of OIC.
Absolutely. So we have so much to talk about. And, like I said, you're fairly new to the organization, but of course, you've had a very impressive career. You've had leadership roles, of course, on the bench, but also positions at the Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce, been on the board of Independence Blue Cross, among many others. What has your experience been leading in this time? Have you been able, what skills have you been able to pull from your past, and then what new skills are you learning along the way?
My career has always been one of decisiveness. So I am the oldest of five. I was born to make decisions, and it has served me well throughout my career. So my career has prepared me in difficult times to make the best decision possible, but it has also prepared me to be resilient. Things don't always go the way you want them to go, but that does not preclude you from needing to be present, to bring your best self to the table, and to make the situation work for the higher good. What I'm learning now is a word that the Economy League loves: agility. The ability to bend, adapt. In my family, we call it adapt, improvise, and overcome. And that's what this situation has required of me, to adapt, improvise, and overcome, be agile.
Yes, and I love that approach, talking about your family and being the eldest, and really like that is lessons in running a business or running an organization, is how you run your family as well. And you nailed it with agility. And as we're thinking about rebuilding as a community, we think about inclusive agility too, and how do we rebuild in a better way? And I want to talk specifically about the recent events concerning police brutality, racial inequities, something that I know you're also talking about every day. These things have always been there and have really just come to a head recently. How are you leading and navigating your organization, your employees, and your constituents during this time, giving people the time and the space that they need?
The most important thing to do is to have honest conversations. When you think about things, this is not the first time we've been in this moment. This moment occurred in the 60s. This moment occurred right after the end of the Civil War with Reconstruction. This moment occurred in the 20s. And the reason this moment continues to occur is that we don't learn the hard lessons that need to be learned, and they can only be had by honest conversation. So I've had lots of honest conversation with my team. You want people to have the space to be open about their feelings. I'll give you a perfect example. The mayor declared that June 19th would be a city holiday, that Juneteenth would be recognized. It has not historically been recognized on the East Coast. Now, it's always been recognized out West, but not on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So in order to engage in conversation with my team about, well, why are we doing this? Why is this important? I shared with them not only the history of Juneteenth, but information that they could share with their families, from very young children to the seniors in the family. When you educate people, then they can be included, they can ask thoughtful questions, they can engage in a way that allows them to make a difference. So openness and education are critical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, looking at Juneteenth as an example with different communities coming together, but also a lot of people not knowing what that was either. And so being able to create that platform, I think, was really important. And thinking about what it takes to be there for your staff, to create that environment. I mean, I think that's something that we can all benefit to learn more from. I'm thinking particularly to, white leaders in the city who may not have ever talked about race in the office, let alone explain or know themselves what a holiday like Juneteenth is and the meaning behind it. What would you say, what advice can you give or lessons can you share to leaders who may be struggling to lead in this time?
Number one, to be brave.
Yeah.
It's very important to be brave. I mean, the initial reaction from most white CEOs is to say, I don't see race, I don't want to talk about race, my company is only grounded on merit. That's really not true. It's not true today, and it's never been true. So the first thing you have to do is acknowledge that there is an issue, to be self-aware of the issues, and to really listen to people. So some of the best companies have groups. Some people call them affinity groups, some people call them listening groups, but there are opportunities for people to talk across racial, gender, religious lines, and to recognize people as whole people. And when I say be self-aware, I mean be critically self-aware.
Yeah.
When you think you're a good community partner, but your senior leadership team doesn't have any people of color, doesn't have any gender diversity, your board of directors is dominantly white men, then you can't ever think of policies and protocols that would advance the issue because you're not talking with the right people. So I ask people to be self-aware, and then once they're self-aware, to begin to engage in honest conversation with people that can help them with ideas to move the needle. For example, if diversity and inclusion is really important, then it should be part of every manager's evaluation. And I don't mean 10% of your evaluation. It should be substantial. 50% of your evaluation. Are you hiring people on your team? Are you promoting people on your team that reflect the entire community? And that doesn't mean shut anyone out. It means, are you taking the steps that objectively say you're hiring the best people because you're looking across all barriers to find the best people?
Yeah, and no, absolutely. And it's in addition to your leadership team and your staff and your board, it's who you're hiring for vendors, who you're purchasing from. I mean, that's something that we talk about the Economy League a lot with our PAGE program, trying to get major institutions to diversify their purchasing pipelines. Right. Yeah. And I think too, so many people, when they think about diversity, it's a checkbox on race, and it's not. It's the collective experience that people bring, and what their own unique experience can bring to guide the conversation, the organization, etc. Absolutely.
I always tell people that Diversity and inclusion is not a check the box. If you're
Mm-hmm.
really trying to do the best for your corporation, whether you're a not-for-profit or a for-profit, it's a bottom line enhancer.
Yeah.
Right now in America, not right now, let's go back to when the economy was more healthy, but African Americans are responsible for $3.9 trillion in spending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if you want to do business in a way that helps your company grow, everybody's money is green. It's all US dollars. So you want to have practices, you want to have advertising, you want to have procurement proceedings that allow everyone to see your company as one they value. I tell you, someone who does it extremely well is Wawa. Wawa promotes from within.
Yeah.
So at Wawa, you may start off as a cashier, but they train their people and they promote from within. So they give their people the skills they need to be fairly considered. And it makes
And
a
I
big
think that's absolutely. And I think that's the inclusion part, right? Because there's diversity and then there's inclusion. And we say those things together so often, but it really, they're separate activities that happen with both. So I think that's great. And I didn't know that about Wawa. So maybe we'll reach out to them about our page program. That's great.
You really should. You really should.
Yeah.
Talking about the difference in diversity and inclusion. So diversity is you invite me to the dance. Inclusion is you ask me to dance.
Oh, I love that. That's such a clear way to describe it. And I hope that more people are reflecting on this and realizing that, as you said, it's more than just that checkbox. Because as a city, as a region, we are going to have to rebuild. We're reopening, but can we do that in a better way? Can we do that in a way that includes this inclusive agility, as we were saying? What do you think it's going to take to really heal as a city?
I think to heal as a city, it's important that we listen differently. The old ways of listening have not necessarily produced the answers that we want. We need to open up the avenues for people to communicate. And so, we think about town halls a lot, but maybe the way to communicate is to have virtual town halls, to have physical town halls, to have people believe that they can be heard in a meaningful fashion, that their ideas are going to be considered. And so when you listen to people, if you never respond to what they say, then they never believe they were really heard. So for example, every idea is not a great idea. Every idea can't be implemented.
Yeah.
But I can acknowledge every idea. I can tell you, yes, I heard you. It's an interesting idea. A, we tried it in the past. B, it won't work because of these financial constraints. Or C, it's something that we should explore further to see if we can implement. Or D, it's a quick one. We can do this right now. But acknowledge people, let them know that you hear them and that it's meaningful. And so I think that becomes really important, that we find different ways of communicating and not siloing. Because if you think about it, the business community is siloed in one place, the education community is siloed in a different place. Every single part of us is walled off, and we need to come together across those forums and put it in a way that is accessible. For example, this city has an internet challenge.
Yes.
I mean, it really does. You cannot get high-speed internet in every part of the city. So if you're going to engage in a conversation until we fix that issue, then put it on public TV. Yeah. All the television stations are required. I'm talking about free TV, the basic channels, so that you don't have to have any special service to be a participant in this. Set it up so that people can text in their questions, because everyone's got a phone. Let them text their questions and respond to those questions. And one of the things that politicians have fallen into the habit of doing is saying, your email has been received and someone will respond to you. Yeah. And they never respond.
The form response. We've all gotten it. Yeah.
Yep. Everyone. And so people need to make a commitment now, whether political leaders, police, fire, everyone needs to make a commitment to have a communications team that's going to meaningfully respond to the questions of the community.
Yeah. And I think, talking about the acknowledgement is so important. That is the next step. We talk about how you need to be a good listener. You need to be an active listener. People need to feel heard. But that's how people feel heard, is the acknowledgement of that. I think that's great. And in addition to the television, we're seeing people do more things with radio now too, and radio call-in shows. I mean, I personally think now is a good time to take risks.
Yes.
What's your thought on that? How would you gauge your risk tolerance?
Oh, I have a very high risk.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
I don't see most things as risky. That's number one. Okay. I think whenever we're talking about looking for the best and brightest, bringing everyone to the table, taking those actions that are going to make Philadelphia a better place, a better region, my risk tolerance is very high because what we did yesterday wasn't working. Why not try something new? I believe in openness and transparency. And what I have discovered in each position that I've ever held is that if you communicate with people, Jen, excuse me.
That's okay.
If you communicate with people, if you tell them what works, what doesn't work, why it is that way, really listen to them and respond to them, then you can take lots of risks. Because we're afraid of things we have no reason to be afraid of. I mean, we really do.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And then you have the added pressure of actual fear of what's going on with COVID and the coronavirus right now. Thinking about Philadelphia moving into the yellow phase and trying to balance, using this as an opportunity to try new things and take risks, but obviously being aware that there is a health emergency at the same time. Is OIC thinking about reopening up soon as far as your physical office space goes? What's that going to look like in the coming weeks?
It's important for us to reopen, and it's important for us to reopen because the community we serve needs for us to be available to them. I'm very, very proud of our team. We converted almost our entire slate of offerings to remote learning within the 30 days after the shutdown order went in place. I'm very proud of what they've done. However, having said that, there are certain services that people can't access. I'll give you a perfect example. Digital literacy.
Yep.
The whole purpose of digital literacy is to give people skills they don't have. They need to be able to come to the building, to use computers, to have us work with them to help them access their own computers at home. They may not have internet access at home, but they still need digital literacy and digital access. We need to be in the building for that. So we are going to, as we move into the green phase, go back in the building, but we're doing it in a way that respects the health challenge that continues in front of us. So we will have mass temperature checks, a survey of when you come in, a brief health survey.
Yep.
How have you been feeling? Things of that nature before you can actually enter the building. We have plexiglass shields in front of the reception area. Everyone's going to be required to wear a mask. We're also going to stagger our hours because we're all in this together, and SEPTA is working through its protocols. So we're not going to have everyone come at the same time. By staggering our hours, we help to take some of the pressure off the public transportation system. We're also
going to have to get to you. Yeah, exactly. It's not just about you opening up, but everyone else being having that access. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're going to stagger our hours. We're also going to work remotely for part of the week because that will take some of the pressure off of the system. And during the time that we're open, we're going to have an intake center where people will be able to come with a mask and a temperature check to learn about all of our services and to set up a specified appointment to talk with the person they need to talk with. So we are following all the best practices from the CDC. We've implemented all OSHA requirements for sanitation, for cleaning. Our elevators will only have 2 people on them at a time. We're really being thoughtful about this, but our mission is to eradicate poverty. It's to serve the community. And the people we serve need to be able to get to us in order to take advantage of the skills, the training, the education that we can offer. So we have to be back in the community.
100%. And I wish you the best of luck as you start to reopen. Can you let us and viewers at home know how we can support your organization and stay involved?
Absolutely. So we put out a monthly newsletter.
Okay.
Please contact us at philaoic.org to get on our mailing list for our newsletter. You can donate. We're a charity. We're a 501c3 not-for-profit. And so people can donate to OIC by going to our website. People can volunteer to help us. And that's another really effective way of contributing to the community. So I would really want people to know, for a better tomorrow, they should call OIC today.
Oh, I love that. That is wonderful. Well, we'll make sure to share your information. Thank you so much, Judge Hughes, for being on our show. We really appreciate it. Thank
you, Jen. It's been a pleasure to talk with you.
Absolutely. So that was Judge Renee Cardwell Hughes, President and CEO of Philadelphia OIC. You can find them on social media at Philadelphia OIC and online, philaoic.org. That's where you can donate, sign up for their newsletter, and volunteer, because it sounds like they're going to be reopening soon, which is fantastic. So thank you again. You are watching The Pivot, presented by the Economy League of Greater Philadelphia. I'm your host, Jen DeVore. You can watch this episode and more at economyleague.org/thepivot. Thank you very much. Have a great day.